Hello, Black community. How is everyone doing today? I hope everyone's doing well. And if not, just hang in there. Things will be okay. Last week, we went over a few tactics that this country in the past and still use today to divide us and keep us at the bottom. This week, we're going to discuss how we ourselves, as Black people, harm ourselves and keep ourselves at the bottom. But like I said before, some of our self-inflicted wounds are caused by this country. I'm not pointing the finger and blaming others, but the truth is the truth. Now let's get into it. The Black community has been turned against itself. In the 60s, we were united and willing to fight and die for social and economic advancement. We were organized into different factions. We had the youth fighting, marching, and protesting on the social front, while the professional and the business men and women were using their resources to fight politically. With this planned movement, our community and culture began to grow. Seeing this as a threat, the government infiltrated every organization we had, dismantling them, killing the leaders, locking them up in prison, and scattering all the soldiers. To ensure they would never have to deal with us effectively rising up again, they took our newly developing culture of Black pride and community love and turned it into a culture of Black hate and a despising of our community. They took the culture of our music that promoted self-love and political empowerment and turned it into a damaging, self-degrading, and self-destructive machine that has crippled our community for generations. The CEOs and the handlers in charge of corrupting our culture, they knew that in order to keep this machine running, the musicians making this self-demeaning music had to make a profit off of it. So they developed this lifestyle of crime and detriment that was art imitating life. It was a reflection of the war on drugs that took place in our communities. The drugs created an economy that the drug dealers killed to control. And those scattered soldiers that were fighting for empowerment now became the soldiers of the drug war, fighting to enslave us in a deadly trap. Rap music glorify and promote murder, drug dealing, and going to prison. What community in its right mind takes pride in disrespecting and degrading its women and killing their men and going to prison for it? That's crazy. So now the rappers, the drug dealers, and all the CEOs profit from the genocide of the Black community. This must not go on. We must take back our culture. Now, let's get down to the heart of the matter and bring the spotlight to our own front door and take a look at our own ratchetness and our own hating and envy and jealousy. The way we hate to see one another do well in life. The way we hate to see someone else come up before we come up ourselves. I think one of the reasons we want to be the one to come up first. We want to be the one to come up before the next man, so we could be the one to say, if it wasn't for me, you'll still be broke. Or if it wasn't for me, you will still be this or that or whatever. It's all about pride and ego. And because of that, the person who has yet to build themselves up don't want to accept help from the people who has already come up, because they know they're going to hear that if it wasn't for me, you'd still be this or you will still be that. It's all a bunch of foolishness. pride, and ego. So now we refuse to help each other or even work together. We don't even trust each other enough to allow one of our own, another black person, to lead us, unless it's into some foolishness. Everybody wants to be the boss. Everybody wants to be the leader. Everybody wants to be the chief, but no one wants to be the Indian. And if, in spite of our own hate for one another, one of us does make it and come up, the ones around you secretly envy you and refusing to acknowledge what you've accomplished. So then we harden our hearts even more against each other and find every reason under the sun to not support each other. And then don't let that person fail. Oh yeah, we're gonna sit back and laugh and tear down everything that person has done. But yet and still, those one tearing down sit around and don't even try to do anything themselves, but quick to be negative and point out all the faults and what's wrong with what somebody else has done. A bunch of nonsense. But if that person who's brave enough to step out there and do something on their own, if that person becomes successful, then everybody and their mama want to jump in and copy them and do the exact same thing. And all that does, it leads to more strife. We'd rather support and give our $1 trillion spending power to other communities than to help someone within our own community get rich. No way in the world should Asians be getting rich off of us selling our women their hair care products. Our community should at least own the black hair care industry. But of course we don't. And even if we did, we probably wouldn't support each other anyway. Next, this old tactic that we still falling victim to. Colorism. Dark-skinned people and light-skinned people don't like each other. Some of the dark-skinned people are mad because in this society, the lighter your skin, the more beautiful you are considered to be. And because of this, some of the dark-skinned people look at themselves as being less attractive. And also dark-skinned people become jealous because the lighter-skinned people get more benefits from this society because it's easier for them to pass. And then we have the light-skinned people who think they are better than the dark-skinned people and have a tendency to look down on the darker-skinned people because they know that they are considered to be more beautiful and more able to pass in the white society. The light-skinned people allow pride and arrogance to creep into their hearts and cause division amongst their brothers and sisters. We are all the same people. It doesn't matter what skin tone you have. We are all the same people. There's no way we should allow this to divide us. This goes way back to slavery. But yet and still, we are still falling victim to it hundreds of years later. Next, let's talk about ageism. The old and the young despise each other because the young think the elders are old and senile and out of touch, instead of embracing and valuing the elders' knowledge and wisdom and experience that they've gained over their years. And then we have the elders who detest the youth because they are wild, running around with their pants sagging, and vulgar and loud, not realizing that the youth will only replicate the values that has been placed in them from the elders. Next, sexism. Black men hating black women and black women hating black men. We use one another and call each other out of our names. We bash and humiliate each other every chance we get. It can be at home, in public, on social media, wherever. We'll stand on the top of a roof and scream at the top of our lungs about how low down a black man is or how trifling black women are. Only in the black community do the male and the female slander each other so harshly. I never see Jewish women on Facebook talk about how badly their men treat them, or the Hispanic or Asian or white women on Instagram talking about 5 reasons why their men ain't shit. Also, I never see men of other communities degrade and dehumanize their women the way black men do to black women. And even if those other communities, men and women, ain't so-called shit, you don't see them airing it out on social media or in the public eye. And even if they did do it, we shouldn't do it to ourselves. It destroys the foundation of the black community, the man and the woman. We even post on Twitter and other social media sites about which black TV show or which black comedian gotta go. Choose one that you can live without. That's conditioning our minds to degrade and throw away one another. That's crazy. Then we have to deal with the women's rights issues that's being fed to our black women, causing them to despise men and further divide the household and the community. We can't afford to lose our most valuable asset to a cause that's not even meant for them in the first place. Women's right is a fight between white women and white men. We can't let other people's issues divide us. We are black first. And then even when black women do get involved in the women's rights movement, they still have to be second class to the white woman. And that tells you everything right there. We have got to stick together. The black man and the black woman has to stick together for the sake of the family and for the sake of the community. We must unite. And last, let's talk about classism. Now, once one of us does come up and start making money, we forget where we come from. We want to assimilate into the white communities and leave our own communities to collapse on itself, refusing to reach back to help your brother up. We also have a problem with when we are handed opportunities, we approach it with poor work ethics, don't want to give it their all. We half-step at whatever we do, harming the reputation of the person who helped them. Black community, we have a long way to go. We have a lot of work to do on ourselves. And what's so crazy, most of the issues we're dealing with are the same issues we've been dealing with since we've been on this land. And we still haven't overcome them yet. We gotta wake up and realize the damage that we are doing to one another and decide to want to do better. We have to decide to want to love each other and stop desiring to pull one another down, but instead build ladders to lift each other up out of this cycle of self-genocide. So I ask, do black people hate each other? I don't think so. In most cases, we're just being manipulated and mind controlled into self-destructive behavior. But then on the other hand, yes, we do a lot of damage to ourselves. We have to wake up and realize what we're doing to ourselves. So, what do you think? Do black people hate each other? Comment down below. Let's open up this discussion. Let's talk about how we as a people can do better as a people. Tune in next week to One Culture, One Community, as we will go a little bit deeper into the black community and all of its faults and shortcomings that we have to overcome. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later.